Hello, so we are going to kind of conclude our conversation about canonization here. Now, what I was saying before I got cut off by the video, Athanasius was a bishop who was a leader of several churches of the time. And so he put out a festal letter at Easter, which is just a letter that he's sending out over this holiday to multiple churches. And so in this letter was a list of the 27 New Testament books we read today. Those were the books that Athanasius thought personally should be scripture. And that really caught on, and a lot of people agreed with him, and that really initiated this need for having a scripture. You have other people, like Marcion, who was kind of a negative motivator, as we talked in a past video. What he did is he kind of raised some controversy about what to include and what to exclude. Exclude as scripture. So he had certain things that he thought should be included. He wanted to include one gospel and the books of Paul as scripture. But he didn't agree at all with a lot of Jewish principles, and so he didn't think we should give as much credence to the Old Testament. He thought we should read it strictly literally. He didn't think there was a connection between the Old Testament and the New Testament. So you get this idea that Marcion kind of encouraged religious leaders because there was a lot of fighting going on. People didn't know whether they should support Marcion or not support him. So because of Marcion, religious leaders were kind of encouraged. It was a catalyst, so to speak, for them, that they could go and they could come together to make a list of canon of scripture that everyone could agree upon, so they wouldn't have to deal with people fighting and arguing like Marcion. And so you have different translations of the scripture over time into different languages. So, for example, you have the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the, I definitely misspelled this, I apologize. The Greek translation of the Old Testament. Then you have Jerome's Bible, or the Vulgate, which is Latin translation of the Bible. And then you get other things that come up. You have the King James Version. You have Wycliffe's Bible. Wycliffe's Bible, which is in English. So over time, you have these different versions of the Bible that are written by different people in different languages. This process happens over many hundreds of, over 1,000 years, definitely, to be sure. So it's definitely a long process. You have these other books that are included that are called apocryphal books, or hidden books. So hidden books equals apocryphal books. This is really interesting. This just shows a distinction between the Hebrew Bible and the Septuagint, one of which included these books, and one of which did not. And you see this also happen over time, in which some books are not included in translations because they are not seen as necessary, or they don't seem, let me go ahead and scroll this down for you, they don't seem to fit in with other scripture books. So that's just kind of an organic process, and that's pretty much the main idea of this. Canonization is an ongoing process that happens when the Bible books are translated into other languages, when they are reevaluated, when older or perhaps more authentic material is found, For example, we were talking about Nag Hammadi. Whenever old information like that is found, like the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947, or older scrolls are found, scholars definitely have to rethink how they've translated the Bible, what they've included in the Bible, and if it's accurate or not. So canonization, it keeps going. It's like a ball rolling down a hill. It will probably continue going for centuries potentially, depending on what new discoveries are found historically about the Bible and what people decide is important to read. So keep that in mind. This is all important information about canonization. For more information, read chapter 1 of your textbook and look over some of those vocabulary words. Many of the vocabulary words I have not incorporated into this presentation for brevity. But look over that. It's a fairly brief chapter, and I would say it would definitely really help you for studying over your test to know about these basic principles. So thank you so much for studying over with me, and I hope you learned something today.